All right, Walter Wofford here, back with the short-term rental cash flow roadmap. All right, so I got a question for you today. When you list your property on Airbnb, whose brand are you promoting? And the answer is not yours, Airbnb's. So if you're going to scale your business, you've got to find a way to get repeat business off Airbnb booking platform. Now with Hospitable, they will give you a direct booking site. I've talked about that previously. But today I'm going to talk about a tool that really helps you do this, and that's called StayFi. StayFi is a piece of technology that allows you to have your own private network in your house with advertisements and email captures for everybody who logs on. Now, you just have one email when you have an Airbnb booking. You don't have the email of everybody in the house. This allows you to get more emails, to do more marketing for specials, for promoting local businesses and events. Anyway, you're going to like this. Now, if you'd like to see our properties, just pull your camera up to the QR code and center it on there and follow the link, and it'll take you to our property listings, which is a Hospitable direct booking site, just so you can see how it works. As always, I have Bill and Judy here, AI team, helping me with the content creation and delivery. Okay, StayFi, building your own brand.
Today, we're diving into something anyone scaling a short-term rental business kind of grapples with. How do you move beyond managing just a handful of properties and build a real robust operation without, drowning in the day-to-day stuff?
Yeah, that leap from just being an operator to running a business is huge. I mean, it really is. You suddenly face this operational burden, coordinating cleanings across different locations, keeping guest communication consistent, trying to maintain a brand experience that doesn't feel scattered.
Right.
And trying to build repeat business when often you don't even really own the guest relationship. The source material we got really hammers home that scaling isn't just about adding more doors. It's fundamentally about implementing, better systems.
Exactly. And our listeners sent in a strategic guide that focuses on one specific tool designed to be exactly that kind of system, StayFi.
What jumped out to me right away is how this guide frames StayFi. It's not just presented as like a technical solution for Wi-Fi. It's positioned as a core platform for automation and growth, specifically built to tackle that scaling challenge by leveraging something fundamental you're already providing: guest Wi-Fi access.
Huh. That's fascinating. Turning something expected and, free into a business asset. Okay, let's explore the source material together for you, our listener. Let's do a deep dive into what StayFi is, how it works according to this guide, and why it argues this tool is a game changer for turning anonymous guests into repeat customers and genuinely scaling an STR portfolio. So, thinking about that core problem of scaling the operational load, where does the guide introduce StayFi as the solution?
Well, it starts by painting that picture you just mentioned, the sheer complexity that kind of explodes as you add properties. Suddenly you're managing not just one cleaning schedule, but 10. Not just one guest communication thread, but maybe 50 simultaneously across different platforms like Airbnb, Vrbo.
Yeah, it gets messy fast.
And how do you ensure a consistent brand message or collect useful guest feedback when everything is siloed? The guide basically says this is precisely the friction that stops growth for so many operators.
And the source immediately introduces StayFi as the answer to building one of those essential better systems. It's described as a Wi-Fi marketing and guest data collection platform.
The core concept, as outlined in the guide, is brilliantly simple in its application. You transform the guest Wi-Fi login process. Instead of just, taping a password to the fridge, guests connect to your network and are redirected to a custom branded splash page to log in.
Ah, okay. So that splash page is the key interaction point then.
Exactly. And the guide emphasizes the core benefit derived from this.
Yeah.
The ability to convert guests who might otherwise just be anonymous bookings on a platform into identifiable individuals you can actually communicate with directly. The guide calls this a game changer, and I think that really speaks to the strategic value it's proposing. It's not just about internet access, it's about creating a direct channel to your customer.
Okay, so how does this actually work? What are the core features the guide details that enable this transformation from anonymous guest to potential repeat customer?
So the first is that branded Wi-Fi splash page we just mentioned. It's fully customizable with your logo, images, a welcome message. But critically, the guide highlights its function beyond just looking good. You could embed links right on that page for things like your digital house manual, local recommendations, maybe even direct booking information.
So it's not just a login screen, it's sort of like a landing page for the property itself.
Precisely. It provides immediate, consistent information right as guests arrive. And here's the crucial part the source stresses. To access the Wi-Fi, guests must enter their email address. Or, you can configure it to require email plus SMS, or even a social login.
And why is capturing that email so powerful for scaling? Because on platforms like Airbnb or Vrbo, you often only have the primary booker's contact info, right? Not everyone's staying there.
Exactly. That's the fundamental shift here. StayFi captures the email of every single device user who logs into the Wi-Fi. Think about it, a family of 4 stays. You might only have the booker's email through the platform, if that. With StayFi, you could potentially capture emails for all 4 adults, maybe even older kids. This rapidly builds a database of actual travelers who have experienced your property firsthand.
Okay, I see. And once you have those emails, the guide says you can leverage them with automated email follow-up.
Yes, the source details how you can set up triggers for automated sequences, a thank you email after their stay, maybe an offer for a discount on a future direct booking, a request for review or ongoing promotion of your direct booking website. You're automating communication that would be, frankly, impossible or incredibly cumbersome to do manually at scale, or even just using the limited platform tools.
And to keep tabs on all this, there's an analytics dashboard. What kind of insights does the source say that provides?
Well, it tracks usage data, how many guests logged in, how long they stayed connected, and importantly, it helps identify repeat guests. This data lets you see how well the system is working and, who your most engaged guests really are.
And finally, the guide points to the multi-property management feature as being key for growth.
Absolutely essential. As the guide states, you can manage multiple listings from a single account, applying property-specific settings, maybe custom splash pages for different locations,
Okay.
and viewing reports rolled up or property by property. You need a system that doesn't fall apart as you add units, right?
Right.
Being able to manage the Wi-Fi, the branding, the data capture for your entire portfolio from one place that's critical for efficiency when you're trying to scale. It means every new property you add immediately starts contributing to that central guest database and marketing engine.
Okay, so laying the system out makes sense. But what about the practical side? The source material touches on onboarding a new property. What does that actually look like according to the guide?
It starts with the hardware, basically. The guide mentions needing a compatible router, specifically listing brands like TP-Link Omada or Ubiquiti's Unify line.
Okay.
Or they also offer pre-configured units you can just buy. So there's a physical setup component first.
And then the setup is done in their online dashboard.
Right. That's where you build your branded experience. You upload your logo, your photos, write the welcome message, choose how guests log in, email only, email plus SMS, whatever. And you set the redirect URL, maybe sending them to your digital guidebook or your direct booking site after they connect.
And configuring those automated emails you mentioned earlier.
Yep, setting up the sequence. Perhaps a welcome email right after they connect, maybe a check-in message mid-stay, definitely a review request a day or 2 after checkout, and then future promotional campaigns. The guide also highlights the importance of clear signage at the property, like a QR code or simple instructions and basic team training, so any staff know the system exists and can point guests to the info if needed.
The guide also suggests this system actually enhances the guest experience. How so? I mean, isn't it just another login step?
Well, think about it from the guest perspective. Instead of hunting for a tiny password written somewhere,
Yeah, always a pain.
they connect to a network named after your brand, see a professional splash page with your logo, get easy access after a simple login, and potentially find links to useful info right there. It's really frictionless Wi-Fi access combined with a consistent, professional first digital impression of your brand right when they arrive.
So it makes the Wi-Fi easier to use and reinforces your brand simultaneously.
Exactly. And by putting information like the house manual or local guide directly on the splash page, it could potentially reduce some of those common guest questions.
Oh, okay.
Which, as you scale, means fewer support requests to handle individually. The guide argues this consistency and streamlined access are pretty vital for maintaining quality as you grow.
Now, beyond just the guest experience during the stay, how does StayFi automate communications after the stay by integrating with other tools? The source mentions things like MailChimp and ActiveCampaign.
Right. These integrations allow you to push that collected guest data, those emails, directly into your marketing tools. This means you can trigger much more sophisticated automated workflows. Things like sending specific upsell offers, late checkout, extra cleaning maybe before they even arrive, or checking confirmations with key codes triggered by arrival, cross-promoting other properties in your portfolio based on their travel dates, or sending targeted promotions based on past stay dates, or maybe even birthdays if you collect that info.
So every time a guest connects to the Wi-Fi in any of your properties, they're effectively entering a funnel that can automatically nurture them towards a direct booking or a repeat stay down the line.
That's the scalable engine the guide is describing, yeah. The system is set up once.
Yeah.
Every new property, every new guest who logs in contributes to building that asset, your direct guest database and your automated communication flows.
Okay, now let's talk about the big picture challenge the source addresses head on: dependence on the booking platforms.
Yeah, this is arguably the biggest hurdle for scaling operators, isn't it? Platforms like Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, they're essential for getting bookings, especially initially.
Sure.
But they act as intermediaries. They control access to the guest relationship. They charge significant fees, sometimes pretty high fees. And they limit how and when you can communicate directly with guests, especially after their stay is over.
And the guide argues StayFi helps break that cycle, as they put it, by collecting guest emails at the Wi-Fi login, allowing operators to actually own their guest list.
That's the critical differentiator, according to this source. You're building an asset, your own list of verified travelers who've actually experienced your property. This isn't just a random list. These are warm leads who already know your brand or at least know your specific property.
What specific strategies does the guide recommend for using this list to drive direct bookings then?
Well, it suggests regular communication things, like newsletters with deals, maybe featuring new properties you add, or highlighting local events. Offering exclusive coupon codes specifically for booking directly on your own website is a big one.
Right. Incentivize the direct booking.
Exactly. Implementing referral programs, promoting availability during shoulder seasons or slower times, and even using the email list to create custom audiences for targeted advertising campaigns on platforms like Facebook or Google Ads so you can reach people who have already stayed with you.
This is how the source says operators can start cutting out the middleman and really cultivate direct relationships, moving towards becoming a hospitality brand rather than just, a collection of listings managed by someone else.
Exactly. It's about shifting control of that customer relationship from the platform back to the operator. It's a power shift.
The guide lists some key metrics StayFi helps track. What does measuring these numbers tell you? Like Wi-Fi login rate?
Right. So the Wi-Fi login rate, that basically tells you the percentage of arriving guests who are actually logging in. It helps you gauge if your signage is clear and the process is smooth enough. Then there's the email capture rate, which tracks how many unique email addresses are collected per stay, showing how efficient the system is at gathering that data.
And then there are metrics directly linked to business outcomes, like repeat guest bookings and review conversion. Those seem crucial.
Yeah, definitely. Repeat guest bookings is a direct measure of brand loyalty and the success of your remarketing efforts.
Yeah.
Are people coming back? And review conversion tracks how many logged-in guests actually leave a review when you prompt them, which is super important for boosting your visibility and ranking on those third-party platforms you probably still rely on for new guests.
And email open click rate. Just standard email marketing metrics.
Pretty much. That tells you how effective your email campaigns are. Are guests actually opening your newsletters? Are they clicking on your direct booking links? This feedback loop allows you to refine your messaging and offers overtime to maximize their impact.
Okay, seeing those metrics is one thing, but the source also provides a real-world example of how this translates into actual bookings and savings. There's a real-world ROI case study mentioned involving 10 properties in Nashville.
Yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road, right? The study tracked 10 properties and found that over just 6 months, they collected 1,200 guest emails just from the Wi-Fi login process.
Wait, 1,200 emails from only 10 properties in half a year? That's a significant list built pretty quickly.
It really is.
Yeah.
And what they did with that list was pretty simple, according to the guide. They just sent monthly emails promoting direct bookings and maybe some local attractions. The result, a 22% increase in direct bookings within just 3 months of starting those email campaigns.
Wow. A 22% jump in direct bookings just from emailing guests captured via Wi-Fi login. The guide also quantified the cost savings from that, didn't it?
It did. By redirecting those repeat guests to book directly instead of through the platforms, they estimated saving about $8,000 in platform fees during that same 3-month period.
$8,000 saved in fees, plus the revenue from those additional direct bookings. all originating from providing free Wi-Fi and implementing this login system. That ROI example, starting from something guests already expect, is genuinely impactful. I mean, that's surprising.
It really illustrates the guide's central point about turning a basic utility into, potentially, a profit center and a growth engine for the business.
So, if someone implements this based on the guide, what are the tips it offers for maximizing StayFi's potential across a growing portfolio? How do you really make it work?
The source suggests getting pretty granular with customization, using property-specific splash pages tailored to the local area, maybe mentioning unique nearby events or attractions.
Right.
Or even customizing based on the typical guest demographic for that specific unit, if you know it.
Okay. And creating loyalty segments, like separating first-time guests from return visitors so you can offer different, more relevant promotions or maybe just different thank you messages.
Exactly. And A/B testing your offers is another tip. Experimenting with different incentives in your emails, like, does a percentage discount work better than a credit for a local restaurant? See what actually motivates your specific guest list to book directly.
And integrating with a property management system, a PMS, or an email CRM system to further automate triggers, that makes the system work even harder, doesn't it?
It does. It connects the dots even more effectively. And the overarching advice, really, is to scale smartly. Build a system that is repeatable. Once you've got the process down for one property, the splash page design, the email sequence, it should be easily duplicable across 5, 10, or 50 properties without reinventing the wheel each time.
That really reinforces the idea that each property isn't just a siloed asset anymore, but a node in a larger interconnected business system, all contributing to that growth engine.
And that brings us right back to the guide's overall conclusion. It really emphasizes that StayFi isn't merely a technical solution for Wi-Fi access. It's presented as a scalable growth engine that integrates marketing, branding, data collection, and operations.
The benefits it highlights in the conclusion are pretty clear. Providing professional, branded Wi-Fi, capturing verified guest emails at scale, automating communication flows, driving growth in direct bookings and positive reviews, and building truly scalable, repeatable systems.
Yeah, and the concluding thought from the source is quite direct. For STR hosts who are serious about expanding their portfolio and growing their business beyond just managing individual listings, this type of tool, specifically StayFi, as described here, should be considered a core part of their tech stack. It helps them make that crucial transition from just being a property manager to actually operating like a professional hospitality brand.
So what does this all mean then? It seems the central takeaway from this deep dive into the StayFi guide is that by strategically leveraging the Wi-Fi network, something you have anyway, and implementing smart integrated systems around it, STR operators can begin to break free from that platform dependence and start building their own direct relationships with guests, cultivating brand loyalty, and driving revenue growth outside the traditional booking channels.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture of building a lasting business in the short-term rental space, it really raises an important question for you, the listener, to consider based on this source material. Given the cost and limitations of relying solely on third-party platforms, how does the simple act of capturing a guest's email address at the initial point of connection, the Wi-Fi login, fundamentally change the long-term financial trajectory and brand-building potential of your STR operation?
A truly powerful thought to chew on. Thank you for sharing this source material with us and letting us take this deep dive together.